Now let's see the structure of the pharynx. After completion of the internal structure and the parts of the pharynx, let's have the look over the structure of the pharynx, how the wall of the pharynx is formed. So the structure of the pharynx, it is formed from outer to the inner side by the areolar cord, then muscular cord, submucous cord, and the mucous cord. This areolar cord, it is the most outer part of the pharynx, and this areolar cord, it is made up of the buccopharyngeal fascia. This buccopharyngeal fascia, as the name suggests, it is extends from the base of the skull to the buccinator muscle. So this buccopharyngeal fascia, it is nothing but it is the only a thin areolar connective tissue layer outside the muscle cord of the pharynx, which is extends from the base of the skull to the buccinator muscle, and it represents the epimysium of the muscles of the pharynx. Now, before going into detail of the muscular cord of the pharynx, let's see some important structures related with the attachment of this muscle cord. This muscle cord, it is the main bulk of the pharyngeal wall. Here, this is the front of the skull. This is norma frontalis, and we have taken the coronal section of the skull, and this is the view from the posterior side of the coronal section of the skull. Here, this is the body of the sphenoid, and these two are the pterygoid process of the sphenoid. So here in this figure, we can appreciate the posterior view of the coronal section of the skull. Let's see the attached mandible with the same figure. So here, this is the posterior part of the medial pterygoid plate, and here this is the pterygoid humulus, and from the pterygoid humulus one raphe is extended behind the third molar tooth, and this raphe, it is called as the pterygomandibular raphe because it extends from the pterygoid humulus to the mandible itself. And here in the mandible, this line is the mylohyoid line. This view is the sagittal section of the bony skull with the intact mandible articulate with it. And here we can appreciate this is the medial pterygoid plate with the pterygoid humulus like this, and this is the pterygomandibular raphe, and here this line, it is the mylohyoid line, and here within the mandible the tongue lies. Now when we see the muscle cord of this pharynx, it having the outer circular layer and inner longitudinal muscle layer. The outer circular layer consists of three constrictor muscles, that is superior constrictor, middle constrictor, and inferior constrictor. And the inner longitudinal muscle layer, it includes the stylopharyngeus muscle, palatopharyngeus muscle, and salpingopharyngeus muscle, which are going to arise from the styloid process, soft palate, as well as the auditory tube to the pharynx respectively. When we see the outer circular layer of the pharynx, we will find the arrangement like this. And here, this is the superior constrictor muscle, this is the middle constrictor muscle, and this is the inferior constrictor muscle. And these three constrictors, they are overlapped each other by the lower constrictor. So we can say this inferior constrictor muscle, it is overlap the middle constrictor muscle, and this middle constrictor muscle will overlap this superior constrictor muscle. So these three constrictor muscles, they are present in a manner of cone into the cone, and all these constrictor muscles, they are going to arise from the front, and all these constrictor muscles, they are going to insert in a single median fibrous raphe, and that is called as the pharyngeal raphe. Now let's see the attachment of the three constrictor muscles, and for that, this is the schematic figure for the structures from where the constrictor muscles are going to arise. These three constrictor muscles, they are going to arise from the front, and they are going to arise either from the bone, either from the cartilage, or either from the membrane. And here these structures we are able to appreciate, and these are the disarticulated schematic figure of all the structures from where the constrictors are going to arise. Now let's see the attachment of the constrictors. Here in this figure, this muscle, it is the superior constrictor muscle. This superior constrictor muscle, it is going to arise from the lower half of the posterior border of the medial pterygoid plate, pterygoid humulus, this pterygomandibular raphe, the mylohyoid line, as well as the side of the tongue. So let's see the origin of the superior constrictor muscle in this figure. So here in this figure we can see this is the origin site of the superior constrictor muscle from the posterior part of the lower part of the medial pterygoid plate along with the pterygoid humulus, then the posterior part of the pterygomandibular raphe, and from the mylohyoid line and the side of the tongue. So this whole is the origin of the superior constrictor muscle. Now after getting origin, this superior constrictor muscle will having the three types of the fibers. Out of them, the upper fibers, they are passes straight upward and going to attach with the pharyngeal tubercle itself, while the middle fibers, they are passes horizontally and they are going to insert with the median fibrous raphe, which is actually formed by the overlapping of the opposite sided constrictor muscles, which is in the midline, which extends from the pharyngeal tubercle above to the lower border of the cricoid cartilage below. And the lower fibers, they passes downward and they are overlapped by this middle constrictor muscle, and they are going to insert on the median fibrous raphe as far below as the vocal fold. And this is the posterior view of the attachment of the superior constrictor muscles, and here this is the superior constrictor muscle where the upper fibers are going to attach with the pharyngeal tubercle, while the middle fibers as well as the inferior fibers, they are going to attach with the median fibrous raphe, and here these are the inferior fibers which are overlapped by this middle constrictor muscle. Now the gap is there from the upper border of the superior constrictor muscle and the base of the skull, and this gap, it is called as the sinus of the Morgagni. And this sinus of the Morgagni, it is covered with one fascia, that is the pharyngobasilar fascia, which we are going to study shortly. Few structures are going to pass from this sinus of the Morgagni. We are going to discuss them shortly. Now let's see the middle constrictor muscle. The middle constrictor muscle, it is going to arise from this lower part of the stylohyoid ligament. So this ligament is the stylohyoid ligament, and this muscle, it is going to arise from the lower part of this stylohyoid ligament as well as from the lesser cornu and adjoining part of the greater cornu of the hyoid bone. And the fiber of these muscles, they passes upward and backward and going to overlap the superior constrictor muscle, and it is going to insert over the median fibrous raphe on the posterior side. And the lower fibers, they are passes downward. These fibers are overlapped by this inferior constrictor muscle and going to insert over the median fibrous raphe. This middle constrictor muscle is a fan shaped muscle, and let's see on the posterior side, this middle constrictor muscle, these are the fibers which are passes upward and going to insert over the median pharyngeal raphe and overlap the superior constrictor muscle, while the lower fibers, they will pass under the inferior constrictor muscle and they are overlapped by this inferior constrictor and ultimately going to insert over the median fibrous raphe as far as the vocal folds. When we see the inferior constrictor muscle, this inferior constrictor muscle having two parts, the part which is going to arise from the thyroid cartilage, and this part it is called as the thyropharyngeus part, and the part of the muscle which is going to arise from the cricoid cartilage, that is the cricopharyngeus part. This thyropharyngeus muscle, it is going to arise from the anterior oblique line of the thyroid cartilage as well as from the inferior horn of the thyroid cartilage. And this muscle fibers, they passes upward and they are going to insert over the median fibrous raphe after overlapping these middle constrictor muscles. While the cricopharyngeus muscle, it is going to arise from the anterior arch of the cricoid cartilage, and these fibers are nearly horizontal and they are going to mix with the opposite sided cricopharyngeus muscle posteriorly without interfering the median fibrous raphe. So this thyropharyngeus muscle and the cricopharyngeus muscle both are collectively called as inferior constrictor muscle, and the gap between this thyropharyngeus muscle and cricopharyngeus muscle, it is very weak, and that gap it is called as Killian's dehiscence. So here let's see the inferior constrictor muscle. This inferior constrictor muscle having the thyropharyngeus muscle, and this is going to attach with the median fibrous raphe after overlapping the middle constrictor muscle, while this cricopharyngeus muscle, it is horizontal and they are not going to attach with the median fibrous raphe, but they are going to continuous with the opposite sided fellow. And this gap between the thyropharyngeus and cricopharyngeus, this gap, it is very weak area, and this is the weakest part of the pharynx, and this is called as Killian's dehiscence. When we see the nerve supply of all the constrictor muscles, these constrictor muscles, they are supplied by the cranial part of the accessory nerve via pharyngeal plexus, and this cricopharyngeus muscle, additionally, it is supplied by the two more nerves, and these are the external laryngeal nerve as well as the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So this cricopharyngeus muscle, it is supplied by the three nerves, and the coordinated contraction of this thyropharyngeus muscle as well as this cricopharyngeus muscle, they are responsible for the proper act of the deglutition. When this thyropharyngeus muscle get contract, this cricopharyngeus muscle will relax. But with the neuromuscular incoordination, this thyropharyngeus and cricopharyngeus, they will not contract and relax with the coordination, and at that time the bulging of the mucus pouch from this Killian's dehiscence may occur, and this bulging, it is called as Janker's diverticulum. In this figure, you can say when the simultaneous contraction of the thyropharyngeus and cricopharyngeus muscle will be there, it will lead to the outpouching of the mucous membrane from the Killian's dehiscence, and when this outpouching is there, this is called as the Janker's diverticulum.